The Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise, sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process. Welcome to the television show devoted to local business, Buffalo on the Rise, with your host, Joe Chili. There's an entrepreneurial spirit in Western New York that's putting our area on the cusp of greatness. Each week, Buffalo on the Rise features local business leaders and decision makers who are shaping our future. If it's about local business, we'll talk about it right here, right now, during Buffalo on the Rise.
I'm Joe Chili. On this edition of the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise, I'll introduce you to some interesting people from hometown businesses with stories to tell. Like Michele Mercer from McDermott Consulting with important information on getting the best Medicare coverage. Kowalyk from Buffalo Ironworks, a hot spot in the Cobblestone district you should check out. And Dr. Miliotto returns with more alternative therapies to help you relieve your pain. Find out how on this edition of the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Joe Chili. Mornings from 7 to 9 on Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. Joining us on the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise today is Michele Mercer, who is an independent Medicare agent with McDermott Consulting. How are you today?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Well, glad to have you here today. Let's begin with the basics. Who or what is McDermott Consulting?
Great question. So McDermott Consulting was founded by Lori McDermott, and her husband Rich works with her. We are a consulting company of independent agents working on behalf of people around Western New York that are looking to, that are Medicare age and looking for Medicare solutions.
You know, I remember Medicare age, a number of years back for me. You just get inundated with everything. And it's very confusing. I mean, when you see all of these things. So what area, do you serve all of Western New York? Or?
We do. We serve all of Western New York, and we also actually work with people that are snowbirds that are out of Tampa area of Florida. So I think that's a differentiator for us. We have a lot of people in Western New York that go to Florida for the winters, and we have a lot of knowledge in that area. So we work in both communities to help people. Again, through that confusing through the confusing healthcare system. So, another area that we deliver or provide to people is the number of years of expertise. Joe, I think you might know from my title, I'm also a nurse, and I have a passion to make sure that people are taken care of and that they can navigate through the confusing Medicare system, which is, as you said, you get inundated with information. The insurance itself is confusing, and healthcare generally is complex.
Yeah, nobody wants to feel like they're stupid, but I have to tell you, I definitely needed help. I look at this thing and I'm going, Medicare, A, B, C, D, it's like alphabet soup. Do people raise their hand when you have to go to down to Florida to help people out? You say, "Oh, I'll gladly do that."
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Especially in the winter?
Yeah. Or even now when it's 50 degrees.
Out, in the morning? Yeah,
correct.
Exactly. So, what are some of the confusing issues? I mean, I mentioned Medicare A, B, C, and D. Is that confusing for
I was
people?
just going to say, I had a conversation with someone this morning who is in the healthcare field and doesn't know the difference. So that is one of the basic, most confusing things. What's Medicare A, what's Medicare B, C, and D, and E, So there are many options, and people just don't, really know how to navigate through them.
Do you need all of those
No, you
parts?
don't. No, you don't. So when a person turns 65, they are automatically qualified for Medicare's Part A and B. They can sign up for Medicare Part B. If they elect to go into a Medicare Advantage plan, which is managed by private health insurance companies, that's Medicare Part C. And then so many people that are our age, above, Medicare age, are on medications. So they have an option of selecting a Medicare pharmacy benefit also, which is Medicare Part D. So.
When you select this, Are you like good for life, or do you have to renew it every year, or what do you have to
Great question. One of the things that we encourage and that we do for our clients is to review their benefits every single year, because not only your life circumstance changes, but the benefits change in the health insurance plans and you know, the Medicare plans themselves. So it's important to evaluate annually what your options are.
And is there only a certain time during the year that you can do that?
There's an annual enrollment plan, and so it's called AEP. It starts in October 15th through December 7th every year. That's the annual. And then there's always special election plans if the life circumstances
something
change.
catastrophic
Yeah, something,
happens,
yes.
or something,
Yep.
something like that. What about success stories? I mean, I'm sure you've done a lot of things, helped a lot of people out. Anything stand out in your mind?
Yeah, you know, it's actually a good question. I had, you mentioned the confusion of all of the barrage of information that gets sent to you and you're flooded with. We just had a person come in that's been on a Medicare Advantage plan, well positioned, got a call from a call center and was confused by what the call center was saying to him, and he actually took the advice of the call center and got kicked off of his plan. And so, you know, he came in to say, I don't know why I did this, but the person on the call was convincing and I need your help. And we got on the phone with the health insurance plan that he had gotten kicked off of and worked through their system to get him back reinstated into the plan. But I mean, that happens, and it's, you know, that's a success story. But if you don't know who to go to, you know, you can find yourself without health insurance.
Well, that's right. And I guess I would imagine when people meet with you, you help them, you know, get an idea of who their doctors are, maybe
Yes.
specialists, prescriptions,
Yes.
things like that, right?
Yeah.
And some of those things can change. I know sometimes that, you know, your prescriptions at one point might have been tier 3, and the next day maybe they're tier 2 or whatever. So going over your policies and what you have and whatever once a year is always good.
It's
good advice.
Yes, come in early, bring your medications. You have changes to your medications. The health plans change their Medicare, or their medication formularies. So it's always important to go through all of that every year.
And it starts with a phone call to you folks, right?
Yes.
Just as easy as that.
Phone call, walk in. Yes, we have a location on in Elma on Seneca Street, and definitely phone call.
It's very good. Michele Mercer, independent Medicare agent for McDermott Consulting. For more information and answers to your questions, contact McDermott Consulting by calling 716-880-7026 or go to McDermott-consulting.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by McDermott Consulting. And join me 7 to 9 a.m. weekday mornings on the Big WECK. Hi, I'm Joe Chili, mornings from 7 to 9 on Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. Joining us on the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise today is Kowalyk, who is the marketing director from Buffalo Iron Works. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Nice to have you here. You know, funny, when you hear Buffalo Iron Works, you don't necessarily think of an event menu, you know,
Right.
or a musical venue. I wonder where that name came from. Do you have any idea?
Yes, I do. So actually back, I think in the 1800s, it was originally like an ironworks like factory space. So it's kind of been transformed now, and I believe it's also historically preserved in Buffalo to become a music venue. So now it's like a bar music venue space.
And it's in the Cobblestone district, right?
Yep, we're right on the cobblestones. You have to walk on the cobblestone road to get up to the venue, and it's a very historic part of Buffalo. So it's really cool to be there.
Yeah, you seem pretty excited about it. And
I'm very excited about
it. You know, as marketing director, do you get to meet many of the acts that are coming in?
Yeah, actually, it's pretty cool. So sometimes, depending on the artist, I'll get to interact directly with the artist to work on their promotional materials or what kind of videos of them we'd like to share on our social media, creating ads. And then sometimes when I'm in the space before a show, the artist will come into my office thinking it's a bathroom or something. But sometimes I get to like talk to them and, you know, like help them before the show, or I'll meet them after the show and get to talk to them. So it's really cool.
Ask you a lot about Buffalo?
Yeah, actually, a lot of people will come in and will be like, where should we get dinner before the show? Or they'll ask for recommendations for like catering or something like that.
What kind of acts do you have? Can you mention some of them that you've had come in and that we might recognize?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's kind of every genre happening at Buffalo Ironworks. It's really cool because it's a very diverse space. So we can really accommodate to pretty much any genre. You'll see a lot of Grateful Dead type of acts. We just had a Doors tribute come in. And then sometimes we'll get more like viral stars coming in. So Mason Ramsey is a name some people might recognize. And he went viral online a few years back for yodeling in a Walmart. And he actually came in and he had the entire crowd yodeling with him. And that was a really cool night.
Yodeling at a Walmart.
Yes, and it went very viral. It was pretty famous online.
And I suppose you yodeled as well.
I had to yodel with him. You know, I couldn't not.
How many events do you host, would you say, in a year?
I'd say it's pretty busy, like 200 or more a year. So you'll have several events happening each week, which is cool.
And these are touring and local artists?
Yeah, a lot of times we'll have like nationally touring artists coming in. Sometimes we'll have artists from other countries coming in. And then a lot of times we'll have either local artists headlining the bill or even opening for some of these touring acts as a support.
You know, it's a pretty unique space. Do people request like to have events there? Do you rent it out?
Yeah, absolutely. The event or the space is always open for events. So we have somebody who's doing their wedding there in a few, like I think a year from now, somebody's getting married in the space. We had a scholarship ceremony happen at the beginning of the month. We have just people totally like wanting to do bachelorette parties, different types of family parties happening there. Sometimes people reserve like our balcony space during shows just to have like their family there for a birthday party or something like that.
So how many people does it actually hold?
Yeah, it's a 500 cap space, so 500 people can fit if we take out all the tables and chairs. And if it's a 500 cap night, that means it's sold out.
So Chloe, you said you're in the Cobblestone district, so I have to imagine that's in close proximity to the arena?
Yeah, absolutely. We're like right across the street from KeyBank Arena.
So do you have events that go on, you know, after things happen at the arena? Can people come over for a drink or come over and celebrate or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of times we'll be open before and after the Sabres games or the Bandits games, or if there's a concert happening at the arena, and people can come in and get drinks maybe before the show or before the game, and then afterwards they can come and sometimes we'll have, you know, live shows happening or free after game concerts. Sometimes we'll do them as like Sabres after parties and people could come in for a free live show. And we also have drink specials for Sabres games.
You know, I know that the yodeling probably stands out
yes.
in your mind, but is there anything else that unique that you can think that went on that you can really call, you know, comes to mind when you think about Buffalo Ironworks?
Yeah, I think it's just a really open space and it's a big part of our community. I think kind of getting to have that space in the local music scene is really cool. And I'd also say that's like the most rewarding part about working there and, you know, helping to put on the shows, because it's definitely a lot of work. But seeing everybody come together as a community and singing and dancing and having fun at the shows, that's what really makes it worth it.
So I have to assume you go to some of these shows yourself.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I go and I take little videos and I post on our social medias, and you know, I'll tag the artists and they'll share to their social medias. So I'm at a lot of them actually.
Have you made friends with some of the artists?
I wouldn't say like close friends, but a lot of them I'll have friendly relationships with, and you know, I'll talk to them after the show and say like, oh, you know, you had a great job tonight, or I'll like hear back from them afterwards that they had like a great time at the space or something like that.
It's a lot of return business, maybe people that really like it and they decide to come back again, right?
Absolutely, we've had a lot of artists come back. We actually have one band that has played, they just played their 50th show at Buffalo Ironworks.
50th show?
50 shows at the space.
How long have you been open?
I believe 11 years.
That's
yeah,
fantastic.
11 years in the Cobblestone district.
Really?
Yes.
That's really great. It sounds like it's a very exciting place. Great venue. You sound very excited about it.
Thank you. Yes, I am.
Can't wait to go to your next show. Right?
Yeah, please do.
You know, well, that's great. Again, Chloe Kowalyk from Buffalo Ironworks. You're the marketing director. Thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
For more information and answers to your questions, contact Buffalo Ironworks by email at hello@buffaloironworks.com or go to buffaloironworks.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by Buffalo Ironworks, and you can join me weekday mornings 7 to 9 a.m. on the Big WECK. Hi, I'm Joe Chili. Mornings from 7 to 9 on Buffalo's oldie station, the Big WECK. Joining us on the Big WECK's Buffalo on the Rise today is Dr. Christian Miliotto from WNY Pain Relief. How you doing?
I'm fabulous.
Yeah.
I've been saying that all day today.
Yeah, fabulous. You're just trying to convince yourself?
No, everybody asks me how I'm doing. I'm always doing good.
Really?
I'm
That's
always
good.
doing good.
All right, well, the weather has finally changed. I think at the time of this show, the weather is nice. But what kind of changes are we experiencing, when people are, they're outside now, they're gardening, oh gosh, and, the next day after gardening, oh, my back is killing me. Or they're carrying mulch. I saw somebody the other day carrying those big bags of mulch. They had like 16 or 20 of them like this. And I'm thinking, what do you feel like the next day after that? That's when they should be calling you, right?
Yeah, it's funny because I was driving home from work the other day, and my neighborhood's pretty cool. Everyone's really nice. And I'm driving past this one house on the left, and they have a pile, like probably about 500-600 pounds of stone. And this old guy is shoveling the stone into a wheelbarrow. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, he's probably going to be calling me in a week. This is the time of year where we want to go outside. We want to be more active. We want to do gardening. We want to go and do our landscaping and yard work, mow our lawns. But this is also the time where people start to become more conscious of some of the pain and the inflammation that they're getting. And those are the warning signs when, you want to be proactive about something. A lot of my patients that have been coming in recently, their consultations, the number one thing they say is, I'm going on vacation. Summer's about to come. I want to treat this so that I can enjoy my summer. I can get better faster. And yeah, this is the time where you want to address something.
When people go out and work on things, they're lifting things like that, you see somebody wearing like these vests or these belts, around there. Does something like that work?
Well,
you look on your face.
I'll answer it with a very specific case study. Home Depot did a study on people because a lot of their employees were getting work-related injuries.
Okay.
So what they decided to do was give all the employees back braces, because they assumed that if we give them back braces and it gives them support for their back, then they will be able to do their jobs, bending, twisting, lifting, and they won't get hurt. Well, down the road, what actually happened very quickly was there was a significant increase in work-related injuries. And that's because if you're wearing a belt around your back to support your spine, you're destabilizing your core. So your core actually weakens over time. So you really shouldn't wear something like a back brace unless you're using it for short spurts and for a specific activity, and then you take it off. If you wear it all day, every day, it's going to make your condition worsen over time.
I used to hear all the time, lift with your legs.
Yes.
That's legit?
Oh, 100% legit. Try bending over with your legs straight to pick something up, and then do the same thing. Don't do it, guys. And then do the same thing bending. Bending from your knees and engaging your core and your waist to pick something up is significantly more efficient, and you're not putting that dynamic stress on your back. You don't want to be flexing forward with your legs straight out and not utilizing your natural biomechanics. For example, when we work with people, we're a very complex and research-based clinic, but I make things very simple for my patients. When you come in for a consultation, I want to look at everything that's going on. Do you have back pain? Do you have nerve issues? Do you have neuropathy? Do you have shoulder pain or hip pain or knee pain? And these are all things in our body that traditionally, when people are treating them and they're not successful, it's because PT failed, chiropractic failed. You started doing corticosteroid injections or epidurals, which are very dangerous to the body, and nobody ever explains, the doctors never explain that this actually makes the tissue in your area break down faster. The arthritis get worse, the disc herniation get worse, and we customize treatments to actually create regenerative healing in the tissue. And a lot of people don't know that, these things exist. And what I simply did, because I don't think I'm anything special, is I spent the time to research and niche myself into anything related to the body. So I can work on neuropathy, back pain, disc herniation, sciatica. I had a patient, really nice guy, Dan, if you're watching, I love you. He had severe back pain, phantom limb pain from getting his leg amputated, from diabetic neuropathy, and he's a firefighter. So imagine your quality of life when that happens. Not only do we eliminate the phantom limb pain in his leg, but when he came to us, he was in a wheelchair. By the end of his 3 months of treatment on his reeval, he walked into my office with nothing. No cane, no wheelchair, no support. His physical therapist that he's working with is mind blown because he's walking hundreds of yards without any pain. You know, that's what we can do for people. And all I want to do is help as many people as I can avoid the medical route if it's related to drugs, injections, or surgical intervention when it doesn't have to happen. And
with summer coming, this is the time you want to do it. And let me ask you, we only have a couple of seconds left, but if you wake up with a crick in your neck, you know, should people call you, or does that go away on its own?
If you have any type of acute or chronic pain and it's related to a bone, joint, or muscle in your body, be smart, have it assessed properly, make sure you get the right imaging, come to one of my educational seminars, come in for my free evaluation. You will learn more in my office with me in 1 hour consultation than the last 10 years of things that you've done. And I promise you that. I hear it all the time. Don't wait until something gets to the level where you can't function and you're thinking about going into the emergency room.
And you notice how well versed I am in this, using that medical term, crick in your neck. All right, Dr. Christian Miliotto, thanks so much. For more information and answers to your questions, contact WNY Pain Relief by calling 716-650-PAIN or go to buffalopainrelief.com. Sponsorship and promotional considerations for the preceding segment was provided by Western New York Pain Relief. And don't forget to join me weekday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. on the Big WECK.
Thanks for watching this edition of the Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise. For information on this and other shows, go to our website, bigweck.com, and find out how you can participate on the program if you're a hometown business. I'm Joe Chili. Thanks for watching and listening to the Big WECK, Buffalo's oldie station.
The Big WECK presents Buffalo on the Rise was sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process.